Sally Gunnell. Colin Jackson. And Diane Modal.
Well wishers were early arrivals at the England team hotel this morning. England coach Terry Venables happy to face autograph hunters. A welcome change from fending off a week of constant questions about today's game. On the return from last weekend's 48-hour pass, the reaction to his players' performance against Switzerland centred yet again on fitness, nightclubs and alcohol. Terry Sheringham was one of those stung by the criticism.
I don't take liberties, even with myself. I know I prepare professionally for a football match, and I've always done that, and I always will do that. The only thing that does disappoint me is that the public pick up the paper, and they're going to believe all they're reading. And we're made out to have had a 3-week party here, you know, before each game.
Newcastle defender Steve Howie went down and out of Euro '96. A training injury stretched England's defensive cover. A veteran of 8 England-Scotland games, Brian Robson started evening classes on the intensity of a fixture that neither country dare lose.
Both sets of players will not be even thinking about the defeat. You can't do when you're going into an important game like this. The only thing you've got to be is positive, and you've got to think about winning the game. And that's what we're doing in the camp. We know it's going to be a tough game, but it's like I keep telling people, it's going to be a hell of a tough game for the Scots as well.
Brian Robson's robust tone reinforced the importance of this occasion. He captained England the last time the countries met. It was in 1989 and England won.
Curling, that's a great goal by Chris Waddle.
Stuart Pearce played that day, and so did Paul Gascoigne. He made a substitute's appearance on his 22nd birthday. 7 years on, the hairstyle has changed, but not much else. Scotland's Player of the Year is a central and incredibly popular character in the England squad.
Everyone, knows about Gaza, but I mean, in the team, I think all the lads, really respect him. He's a magnificent player if you watch him train and whatnot, and he's great to have around the camp. I mean, all the lads know how to treat him. Get along fine with him, and as I said, he's well liked by everyone.
English fortunes could hinge on Paul Gascoigne's performance. Scotland's plans to deal with the effervescent, hyperactive G-man are eagerly awaited. Gascoigne's heart will be furiously pumping behind the 3 lions he'll proudly wear on his chest. He's a cert to play. The rest of the lineup remains a closely guarded secret. Several players have been trying to impress the England coach this week. The positive attitude of Steve Stone in rearranging a forthcoming fixture can't have done his chances any harm.
I'm getting married, yes. Had to think for a second there. Yeah, I'm getting married to my girlfriend Judith, who I've been with for 9 years now. It's going to happen. It's meant to be happening on the 30th, but hopefully we would have got to the final. So it's now going to be happening on the 7th of July up in Newcastle, which I'm looking forward to.
That's nice and positive, isn't it, postponing that wedding for that particular fixture?
Well, it was just in case, I didn't want to go and see it. The boss can have the day off because I'm getting married. It would have looked rather bad, wouldn't it?
The England squad are calm, relaxed and confident about today's game, and their standard is safe in the hands of Stuart Pearce.
It's a big game. There's a lot of pride at stake, and I want to see England do well, probably more than any supporter in this country. I mean, sometimes people get waylaid and think that footballers are not particularly bothered and they earn good pay and they do this and do that and get a bit blasé about it, but I can assure you there's myself and a lot of people in this squad that are desperate for England to have success.
Pearce and England will attempt to adopt the persona of St George today. There will be a multitude of dragons at Wembley. Most will be wearing kilts. Terry, thank you for joining us. Ready for these Scottish Dragons?
Hopefully we're ready for anything.
And a team of St George's today.
Yeah, well, we hope so. We know there's a big responsibility on our shoulders and we hope to please.
You were a student of England-Scotland games in the past when your career was starting out. What have you learned from those matches?
Well, they are very passionate, emotional. I mean, I used to go to all the away. I mean, I wasn't in the squad at the time, but I was playing, and I used to go and see the England-Scotland games up at Hampden Park, and it was something special. At Wembley also. Those games, I think, have been missed sorely, and hopefully this might bring it back again.
Are they games that test a player's character?
I think so. There's a great rivalry, as you know, between Scotland and England, especially, as was mentioned, I think on television yesterday, the stick that carries on for the next season or so, or even longer in this case, I would think, if you lose, is enough incentive in itself to want to win.
Do you think it'll be like a Premiership match because everyone knows each other?
Yeah, I would think there's quite a lot of that will be involved. The pace of the game, the tightness of the game, the competitiveness of the game. I think it will take that turn, yeah.
Does the referee, is the way he administers the rules, is that going to have a bearing on the style of match it is?
I think the most important man on the field would be the referee.
Why'd you say that?
Well, I think he'll control. You know, it's one of those things that he'll know about it. He'll know what's involved, and he can't afford to be lax. Otherwise, everyone would be taking liberties. And he also knows that he can't make someone a sacrificial lamb because that's unfair. Just to show the others, you know, I'm prepared to book people and send people off in the first minute. He's got to be a good referee. Nothing changes. If it's a foul, he's got to give it. And if it's not, leave it alone, let it flow. But I'm sure he will. I'm told he's a very good referee, so we'll find out.
How do you encourage your players to keep a little something back because it's a 90-minute game?
Well, we work our game plan for 90 minutes, and we try to cater for everything, whatever comes our way. But I've got also a full squad change that you don't have to think about who you're going to change before the game. I can look at the game and see what I feel I need.
Now, Paul Gascoigne is the talk of the town, he's the talk of both sides of the English-Scottish border. What will you be saying to him before this match? Well,
I've already spoken to him. I just want him to relax and just get his head around the game. I mean, he's been doing that all week. It's been coming up. He enjoys working up there, and he's enjoyed the respect he's got from the Scottish people and his teammates. And he's earned that. He's earned that respect. I think people have underestimated that in this country because we don't see so much of the Scottish football as we see of our own. I've been up there on occasions, and those games are very fast, very furious, and he's never had a problem with fitness. Everyone wants to keep throwing this fitness thing. If we had a long-distance run tomorrow, he'd be right up the front. There's no doubt about that, and they know that. They know he's a terrific player. I thought he played well against Switzerland. He needs to do the same again.
So, here we go, and what will you say to Craig Brown when you get to see him later on?
I'll wish him luck, but I won't mean it.
Terry, goes without saying, all English fans wish you and your team all the very best today.
Thanks very much.
Ray Stubbs reporting there. Well, Scotland got rave reviews for their courageous but backs-to-the-wall display against Holland. Now comes the crunch.
Stratford-upon-Avon, the green and pleasant heartland of England. But to it this week has been added a dash of saltire blue.
Individual targets fall short, far short of the team target. I'm sure you've heard all that rubbish before.
Nobody was picking up Bergkamp there, and the pullback from, it was Seedorf, and Talbot.
just one of those things, but if I hadn't done it, it might have been the back of the net, so I'm glad I did.
So you're saying it was purely involuntary, right?
Yes, without doubt.
What's it going to be like against England now?
4 or 5-0 by half time, I reckon.
For who?
Please.
This is the first really competitive game. We've had the home international championships, but at UEFA level or at FIFA level, this is the first time this has happened. So I think it'll be a unique game, very unique.
And so to Wembley for the game that's been headline news ever since the draw was made.
I think it'll be playing very much like a cup final atmosphere. You know, I think possibly it could be one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game in the whole tournament. From the fact that it's fate, we've been drawn against each other, and it's at Wembley. You know, it's got the ingredients and the makings of a great game.
We've only heard about walking out of the tunnel at Wembley, you know, with the England team next to us. With the England-Scotland game away now, it's probably once a lifetime. You know, you're going to get this, unless the game gets brought back into operation. But if you can't look forward to this game, you can't look forward to anything. You know, especially with the chance we've got now, the way we played against Holland in the Colombia game, and I think we've got a right chance now.
This will be the biggest game I'll ever play. You know, even if I made a European Cup final, I think the Scotland-England game would eclipse everything.
England will be equally up for this game. I think they're a little bit like a wounded animal at the moment because the press they've received has been harsh, to say the least. And knowing a lot of English boys, they'll be reeling and dying for this game to come along. So they'll be up for it just as much as we will, equally in fact. So we'll have to play with the same amount of passion as we did against the Dutch, because that was basically what got us the result. But we played with our heads as well, and if we play with the right amount of passion allied to the skill as well and thought, I think we can get a result. Yeah.
Is there added weight of responsibility because of the expectation in Scotland today?
Well, I think the expectation is really in England because the English team is the home team. They're expected to do well in the tournament. We are complete underdogs. We had a result on Monday which helped us a little, but we're still underdogs. That suits us perfectly. So the Scottish fans expect a good fighting performance. They expect total commitment. They expect a well-organised Scottish team, and we hope that we'll manage to give all these ingredients. Whether we manage to produce the skill, have the technique and all these extra added aspects remains to be seen. But we are an underrated team. We do have very skillful players, and there were patches in the game at Villa Park which were highly encouraging.
There's been a lot of negative publicity about the England camp. Does that make them even more dangerous in your book?
Absolutely. I think you know, when there's a persecution complex surrounding a group of players, they dig in together and they fight together. And I think this is what's happening to the England team. They seem to be criticised quite a lot, and therefore they're going to be smarting from that criticism. And the way to respond, the best way, is to get a result, to win the game. Now clearly that's terrific motivation for them. We are now supposed to be, have the good image, supposed to be well prepared, everything's supposed to be okay. We're happy about that, but we've got to transfer that into a performance, otherwise all that is in vain, for nothing.
Is this match, Craig, the key to qualification for both teams?
Well, I'd like to think that the team which wins this game would have a great chance to qualify. It would be very, very difficult to fail after that, I think. Although the draws in the opening games means that I think every final match will mean something. Now, whatever happens, our game on Tuesday will mean something, but it'll be very much more meaningful if we manage to record a victory today.
I think you know how you think England will play. Do you think you will be able to leave them guessing about the Scotland formation?
Well, I suspect that they'll be very well versed in our possibilities, and there are many possibilities in terms of our shape and our formation. The same exists with England. I think we know the potential changes that they could make, if any, and we'll be well prepared to play against England. But it's the old adage, I'd like them to concern themselves about Scotland. We will be prepared to cope with whichever system England chooses, and we can make the minor adjustments if necessary. But we're confident in our own system, we're happy to play it. The players have played together quite a long time. Remember, unlike England, we have had already 11 competitive games in this tournament. We've lost only one. England have had one competitive match in this tournament. That's not their fault, but that's the way the thing has evolved. And with our good record in the tournament, we mean to continue. And I'm confident that we'll continue with the good record we've had in the European Championship.
Honestly, is your stomach churning?
Not at all, no. I think a calm assurance is what's required both from the players and from Alec Miller and myself. I will be totally calm because I always am now. I used to be a bit different in my early years in management, but I've been in football management for 22 years now, and I think as you get a bit older, you can see I'm quite ancient, you get philosophical, but you also become very clear in your head and in your mind. And I have a lot of experience in big tournaments, you know, maybe not in full charge of the national team, but the last 3 major tournaments I've been on the bench. I've watched, I've listened, hopefully I've learned a great deal, and hopefully that will be of use to Scotland today.
Hazel Irvine there with that report. Well, inside the stadium here, the atmosphere will be absolutely electric later on this afternoon, but have a look at it just for the moment. All peace, and look at that pitch, absolutely magnificent. We're expected to see some quality football on that this afternoon, and we'll continue with the build-up on the football a little later on. But it's really cricketing weather, and I think for the moment, certainly for the next quarter of an hour or so, we should concentrate on our real summer game with Cricket Focus.